day, everyone. Welcome to another weekly vlog with Vicky of Vicky Sunday Speak. Yes. So, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing my highlights, the hot tea from my Sunday experience. You know how we roll in this channel. Serving you arts, giving you my take, the lessons learned, and I would also need you to kindly share your comments, your observation about this video on the comment section. Thank you. And I also want to thank you all that has taken our time to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for the subscription. Thank you for the like. Thank you for sharing my videos. Thank you for turning on your notification bell. Thank you. Yes, so for today's experience, I got that experience that you get when maybe you've done something and you are now seeing the result of that thing that you've done. That was the experience I had today, and I'll be titling today's story time as the do-overs. The do-overs. Yes, the do-overs. So sometimes I think few months back, not few months, like few weeks here, less than, let me say a month or less than a month, something happened in church. Something happened while I was in class in church. So for those of you that are wondering, what's she talking about? What does she mean by while she was in class in church? Please, this time for you to go and watch my previous video to get more insight on what I'm talking about. Yes, you need to watch it so you understand better. So while I was in class in church, I'm that one adult, or I'm that one parent, teacher, aunt, big sis that would never stop emphasizing on discipline. Yes, I was disciplined. I saw the results. They are not bad. So who says this younger generation can't be disciplined when they misbehave, or they cannot test from the consequences of their actions? Who says? For me personally, if you have your own opinion or your take about this, you can drop it in the comment section. But me personally, I am one person that's, if you misbehave, you tend to experience the consequences of your action, because it makes you sit up and do better. That is me. That is me and my own perception about discipline, right? So back to my story. I know some of you will be like, you are a military person. Yes, I'm a military person. So back to my story. So on this particular day, while I was in class taking my kids, one of my very loving child was not behaving his age. I was behaving like a toddler. And guess what? For me, I actually have different disciplinary action for different action displayed in class. If you behave like you're a baby, you'll be sent to a baby class. If you behave like you're too big for the class, you're going to join your parents in the big church. If you behave like, oh, maybe the talk we're having in class, you're not so much engaging with it, or you just act some sort of way that needs a stronger measure, then you need to invite your parents for me to see. You get? So when I talk about discipline, I'm not talking about spanking, flogging your child, or using abusive words. No, there are other ways to discipline a child that makes them to understand and own up to that action that it did. Yes, it will help them accept that what they did was wrong, accept the consequences, accept that they don't want to repeat that action again, because they already have a feeling of how it is to stay in the place of in a place of, when I say place of consequences, um, you understand what I'm trying to say, right? So on this special day, that my wonderful child was not acting his age; he was acting like a toddler. So the consequences of that action was for him to go to the to toddler class. So, and for me, once I say this is it, you have to do it. I no plea. You might come and play with me later. Yes, we understand, but first act, do it. So he was asked to go to the preschool class, yeah, and he went there. He was not happy about it. I saw it. I could see it in his face, because I also went there to check up on him, and I could see it in his face that he was not so happy with being there. But it is what it is. It is action, so he has to experience the consequences of it. So he stayed there for that Sunday. For the next Sunday, he wanted to come back to his actual class. I was there. Fortunately for him, I won't say unfortunately. Fortunately for him, I was on duty that same Sunday when he came. And when I saw him, I was like, "What are you doing here?" He said that he thought it was just for last Sunday. I said, "No, you need to be there until the teachers in the preschool class come and tell me that, oh, this person is behaves maturely, or this person, they give me a commendation or a recommendation about your attitude that would fit you into your actual class, then I would allow you to come back to your actual class." And he went back there. Went back. I felt some way, but it is what it is. So he went back there. Then when I was taking my class, I noticed that he came back to the class. He came back. He asked me, "Do I need the offering bag?" I said yes. He went to get it. Then he came back. He started counting the attendance and all of those things, and that caught my attention. I was like, "Hey, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be in preschool." And I was like, "Oh yes, Sister Victoria, but right now they are watching, it's watch time for them." And I was like, "Oh, it's watch time, then watch with them now." And I said, "Oh, Sister Victoria, I'm bigger than that now. It's just animations of Christian stories. I'm bigger than that. I would want to." I said, "Oh really, you're bigger than that?" I didn't want to stop him from doing what he was already doing, so I just said, okay. I allowed him do the admin and everything that he was doing and left. Then I think the third Sunday, he was not in church, yeah, and I was also on duty. I noticed he was not in church, so that passed till today. So today, while I was in church, I didn't go to the children's church. I worshipped because I was not on duty, so I was in the big church. So after the service, I was going to have my other meeting, and I noticed that somebody just held me from behind, and I was like, "Who is this person?" And of course, I know it would be definitely one of my kids, but I wanted to be sure who that was. Like, I noticed it was the one. I mean, I was like, "Hey, how are you?" We shook hand, and I was like, "Oh, Sister Victoria, you didn't come to..." I said, No, that I'm not on duty, that I had to come to the big church." And he said, "Wow, that I should guess what?" And before then, I'd even forgotten that I sent him to preschool. I'd forgotten, honestly. Maybe because I was not on duty, so I didn't take, or maybe because he didn't come last week Sunday, so I didn't pay attention. I'd forgotten. So when he said, "Oh, Steph, guess what?" In my head, I was like, "Okay, so what happened?" He said, "I taught the baby class today. I taught them and they had fun. They were saying it all, but I taught them, they had fun, and the teachers commended me. I did this," and I'm like, "Ooh, hold up. How did you do it?" And he said, "I was told." He was not in church last week Sunday, so I want to believe that maybe they told him the Sunday before last that he was going to be taking the class. So he waited, he had enough time to prepare. You get. So he said, "I learned about it. I prepared myself for the topic, and Sister Victoria, it was fun." And then I was like, "Okay, let's not get all caught up with the excitement that you taught." I said, "Calm down. So how have you been able to manage these children since you've been in that class?" He said, "Because they are children. There are times you just have to talk to them. There are times you have to be firm with them. There are times you have to pet them." I was like, "Okay, good, that's good." And I was like, "Do you understand you being in that class was actually a punishment?" He said, "Yes." And I said, "So how did you feel about it?" So the first thing he said that was that, oh, honestly, when he went to the class the first Sunday, the second Sunday, he was not happy. He just felt alone. He felt like, I'm too big to be in this class. He was ashamed of himself. He was ashamed because anybody that comes into the class and they see him there, they'll be like, what are you doing here? And he's expected to tell them what he did, right? So he was ashamed of being there. He was ashamed of his action, and he was ashamed of the consequences. But guess what? He didn't sleep on that shame. There was something then, and I asked him, so what have you learned from this punishment? And he was like, wow, Sister Victoria, if I was to be in my actual class, you wouldn't have given me the opportunity to do all of those tasks, or maybe taking attendance or bringing the offering bag and doing all of those things. But being in the baby class actually gave me the opportunity to assist and support the teachers, and it made me feel responsible. And I said, secondly, the one that actually is the one that is most exciting for him was that he was being given the opportunity to teach, and he could see the excitement in the eyes of the children, that he felt so proud of himself. And I was like, so at that point, were you still ashamed? And he said, no, that he was no longer ashamed because he was teaching the children. He was so happy. And I just sat back. When he was saying this, he spoke and he left. I sat back and I was just thinking about that conversation I had with him. And I was like, he was in a place of being disciplined. It was in the place of where he was paying for the wrong action he took. But guess what? He took advantage of it. And he got something out of it. He learned on how to take responsibility. He learned on how to teach people. He learned on how to manage people. That is what a do-over is. That is what a do-over is. So if you're in that situation where it seems like, oh, you made some errors and these are the consequences of the errors that you made, don't take it that you're being punished or it is over. Take advantage of that season. Look inward. When people are seeing shame, you look inward and bring out the light from that situation. There is always a light. Every problem is actually a story. Every problem that you accept and you're able to solve gives you a tip on how to always conquer, on how to always become better. Yes. So if you're going through that time of, oh, you made a mistake and these are the consequences of your mistake, while you are there, it's teaching you on how you should not make that same mistake again. And you can only learn that when you are able to accept. So first of all, in a place where you have to pay for an action or a wrong decision you've made, first of all, first thing you need to do is to accept. Acceptance is the thing. Accept it. Accept the punishment or the consequences being given to you. Then afterwards, after the acceptance, trust me, you start seeing how, or learning on how to take advantage of that situation. Thank you very much. I've come to the end of today's talk. I want to believe you enjoyed it. This was how I enjoyed it too when I was having that conversation today. It was really, really mind blowing for me. Thank you all once again for taking out time to listen and watch my video up until now. I am so, so, so thankful. And please don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to share this channel with your friends, families, and everyone around you. Vicky of Vicky Sunday Speak says she loves you. Bye, guys.